Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Harvey. Thanks for taking the time to watch my presentation on my Community Needs Assessment Report. So I decided to do my Community Needs Assessment Report on my own community where I live in Gloucester, Massachusetts. My husband and I actually grew up together a town away in Manchester, Massachusetts, and then we moved, kind of bounced around. We ended up in Gloucester. And so now this is where we're staying for a while. Gloucester, you may know, was the setting in Sebastian Junger's book, The Perfect Storm, which eventually became a movie, I think in the 90s, with George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg. And Gloucester has also, I guess, been frequented by Whoopi Goldberg. I have heard lots of talk about that, although I think it was more in the past. And I just learned that it was the home for a time of Virginia Lee Burton, who is a well-known children's book author and illustrator. She wrote The Little House and Mike Mulligan and his Steam Shovel, among others. So, but aside from the brush with fame, Gloucester also has, some problems. And some of them have really come to light to me recently, especially in investigating what I have for this Community Needs Assessment Report. So when I moved to Gloucester, I decided to get involved in the community by volunteering at the community kitchen, because I had done that when I was, I think, in 8th grade. And they're very friendly there, and they help a lot of people, and the community meals that we serve are really nice. There's flowers on every table, and there's music, and everyone is treated with respect, and it allows people to have dignity while they're, coming to a free meal. And so anyway, the Open Door is a great place that offers a lot of services to people in need. And so I decided to look into the population in Gloucester that requires or would utilize the services of the Open Door, but perhaps don't because they can't. So the Open Door offers community meals, family suppers, and summer meal programs, which are for families and kids. Community meals are for anyone, and they're held 5 days a week, and the food pantry is also open 5 days a week. So it's very accessible for a lot of people. For other people, it may be a little more difficult. So there is also a mobile market, and then there's a senior market, which those definitely serve a certain part of the population. There's a thrift store, food rescue, at-risk adolescent job training programs where they work in the kitchen and they work at the thrift store to gain experience in those fields, and SNAP assistance and nutrition counseling as well. So the Open Door offers a lot of things that people in the community use and need. So my population of interest is the low-income and or food insecure Gloucester adults between the ages of 18 and 65 who, after doing a little research, I realized may have a little less opportunity to access the Open Door for various reasons. And these people in need of the Open Door services but who lack reliable transportation. Because when I spoke to the registered dietitian on staff at the Open Door, she said that transportation was probably the biggest need of their population. So Gloucester actually has a poverty rate of 8.5%, and 8.8% of households don't have cars. And in a 2007 Community Needs Assessment Report conducted by the Gloucester Health Department and the Board of Health, some experts that were interviewed for that Community Needs Assessment in 2007 estimated that about 3.5 to 8.6% of Gloucester adults go without access to nutritious foods. So these are still problems, clearly, because someone who's working directly in the field also states that this same group of people is still having issues. And perhaps as a result, Gloucester residents also face certain health conditions that may be related to poor diet, such as heart disease, heart attacks, diabetes, high cholesterol, and certain types of cancer. So the main issue is there are no bus stops that go right to the front door of the open door. The closest bus stop is about a third of a mile away, and the closest train stop is half a mile away. And so here we have downtown Gloucester and the open door over here. And it seems like a pretty straight shot, right? Just this one street, just a few blocks away even. But in reality, that's one of the steepest hills in Gloucester. I've lived here for, 2 years, so not too much, but that is a really steep hill, and I've climbed it a couple times, and it's downhill over here. It goes up, 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 about 100 feet of steep elevation, steep climb, and then down, 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 down. So in the winter, I don't know how those people, park up there if it gets icy or drive around. It's so steep and treacherous, and I wouldn't want to carry my week's worth of groceries up and down that hill every week in the winter. So I can understand why there are people who maybe they just resort to other things like fast food that are downtown instead of, trying to get to the open door where they serve fresh produce and there are fresh ingredients that people can access for free. So with this steep hill in mind, and lack of bus stops, there really is a major problem for people to get to the open door. So there are several public transportation systems in Gloucester. There's the APN Transportation Authority, or CATA, which is a bus service, which is $1 ride per person. And they do offer a $2 door-to-door service, but it's only for disabled, mentally or physically disabled persons or people over the age of 65. So, or it could be 60. But either way, it blocks out a huge chunk of the population who would otherwise really use a door-to-door service. So, but the closest stop, again, is 0.3 miles away. And the closest train, like I said, is a half a mile away. Besides that, there's just pricier options like taxi cab companies or Uber and Lyft. And I think taxi cabs end up being used certainly more than Uber and Lyft, but those are still expensive. So for my community needs assessment, I decided to conduct a key informant interview with the nutrition services manager at the open door. She takes on many clients, and so she's very knowledgeable in the field. She thinks that a lot of her clients carpool and take cabs. There is a Beauport shuttle service, which is a company that is contracted by the open door to provide limited service to community meals, which run just for maybe a couple of hours, 5 days a week. And so that doesn't take into account people needing to use other services that potentially may not be available during that time. Though they can take go into the food pantry, it doesn't. It's not meant for the food pantry, and so generally, people don't know about it. And there's also a bike rack there, but really, she said that mostly staff and volunteers end up using the bike rack, so that's not really a viable option. But she does suspect that more people would use the open door than do, because at the Harvest Meals program that's held, I believe it's once a week downtown off-site, there are more attendees there than there are at the Community Meals program, 5 nights a week on-site at the open door. So she believes that that means that people are having a hard time getting there. And so I asked her, well, what do you think the answer is? And she said, a more robust public transportation system. So I'm proposing that we start a community advertising and education campaign, because I think a lot of people, like me, when I moved here, didn't quite realize the problem. I didn't quite realize how many people were being affected by this and what hurdles there are in getting them what should be a basic human right of having good, nutritious food. And so I was thinking we could use social media where different businesses perhaps get involved. I really want this to be an emotional sort of connection to our neighbors, to our community members. So hopefully businesses would jump on board and would help to promote the cause through their social media campaigns. We could also post about it or just advertise about it on the Gloucester Daily Times newspaper and on public bulletin boards. We'd obviously be partnering with the Open Door, with CADA, with potentially the Department of Health in Gloucester. And if people get newsletters, that would also be a good way to do it. We could also associate a community fundraising initiative with this education program of, what is actually happening before our eyes and how can we help. We can help by donating, and we could either have donation locations at local businesses or online. This is just a sample. Let me just move this. Sorry about that. This happened to me when I was practicing. So this is a sample. I'm sorry, it's a little cut off, but this is a sample. I'm not a design person, but basically a sample advertisement for what we might put up on a bulletin board or on social media. And it gives people tangible options to decide how much they want to donate, because they can see what it might give someone. $1 donation could give a ride to the food pantry on the CADA bus. $5 donation provides 5 trips to the community meals program at the Open Door. And a $10 donation could provide 5 round-trip rides to the Open Door. So these are tangible things that people would see where their money is going. It's going to help feed their neighbors. So this community needs assessment is important because it starts a conversation between important people who might be able to actually do something. And ultimately, this will improve the health of the community. Through brainstorming innovative ideas and collaborating together, it's possible to create lasting change. Thank you.